Hey, welcome everybody. Today we're gonna deploy our sandbox into production. So we're here logged in, and the thing we're gonna do is from our production, make sure that you go to change set. Okay, deployment settings. There we go. So here, you need to make sure that you are allowing the deployments to work. So allow deployments of components with corresponding Apex jobs are pending or in progress. But actually this one right here, you pick your sandbox and allow inbound changes. Okay, so you need to make sure that is set up. And then this one right here, I think this one we don't. Yeah, you need allow deployments. Okay, so once you do that, now you can go into your sandbox, and when you create a new change set, we're gonna inventory. Okay, so we got our inventory, and we're gonna add that object. We created two objects, so it's under custom object, and it's the inventory item in the inventory location. Okay, so we're gonna add that. Okay, there you go. What happened? All right, so I added it, and then we're gonna do view all, add dependencies. So we're gonna add all these dependencies. These are all the fields. And everything that has to do with that. So we'll go ahead and add all those. All right, so this is the change set, and we're gonna make this available to our profiles. So our admin, our standard user, and these are some custom profiles we created here. Okay. All right, so there's our change set. So if this looks good, we go ahead and now we can do upload. Okay, so upload. If you didn't allow this here, then this would have been blank. Okay, so if you see blank, just make sure you go to deployment settings in your main org, in your production org, and allow inbound changes from this sandbox. Okay, so now we have the connection here to production, so we're gonna upload it. All right, so it's currently uploading. So now what we do here is we go to our production and we're going to change sets, right? I'm going to inbound change sets. So it's coming in. All right. So right now it's still uploading the changes. Okay. So this might take a couple minutes. Usually you get an email also when it's done. So what we can do is we can just refresh here. And it's still uploading. All right. So it takes a few minutes to upload. So once you send it over, you can't go in there and change it. You'll have to do a clone. If you forgot something, you wanted to add something, you clone it, and it has all those settings for you. If you make changes and you want to upload those changes, I guess you can do clone also, and it's going to include all the objects and all the dependencies. You can add more dependencies. But yeah, you can't change it. Once the status is closed, because you uploaded it, you have to clone it or create a new one, right? And then here we should see this change set. Okay, so here it is. Okay, inventory app change set. Right, so from the source, here's our sandbox and who did it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna validate. So this is gonna check to make sure it's gonna work. Okay, it looks like it's still kind of loading something because we can't validate it yet. This thing takes a long time. So let's see. Default says keeps the following default behavior. In Sandbox, no tests are executed. In production, all local tests are executed if your change set contains APIC classes or triggers. Local tests are all tests except the ones that originate from the managed packages. If your package doesn't contain any Apex components, no tests are run. And then local run tests, all tests in your org are run except the ones that originate from the installed managed package. The test level is default for production deployments that include Apex classes or triggers. All tests in your organization are run, including tests of managed packages. Run specified tests. Only tests that you specify are run. Provide the names of test classes in comma separated lists. Code coverage requirement differs from the default coverage requirements when using this level in production. The executed test must cover the class or trigger in your change set with a minimum of 75% code coverage. This coverage is computed for each class or trigger individually and is different from the overall coverage percentage. Okay. So those are the different tests you can run. So let's see if it lets us do it. Can't validate it. Why? Okay, let's check our email. It was uploaded successfully 3 minutes ago. Okay, let's update. Let's refresh this page here. Let's refresh this page. Okay. All right, let's just try to deploy it. We can't deploy it. Why? can't delete or rename components in this organization. Okay, so inventory. Let me take a look here. So I think I have one that's called inventory. Oh, inventory item. All right, so we will have to delete this one. We can't. Open process builder, filter lookup. Okay, so if you're trying to delete an object, like this org doesn't, this is a new feature we were testing and we decided to do it in the Sandbox. But this was something I created a long time ago and it hasn't been used, but see, some things has been done. So it says you can't delete this custom object definition because it's reference and support record process. Okay, so we can go to our process. This is support process builder. Support record process. It's inactive. So it says update contact. Oh, okay. So see, this was something we were testing here. So I guess we'll have to delete each one. Yeah, because we created a new flow and right now it's not using this way of doing it. With the process builder we're using a different way, so this won't work either way. So all right, so and see, you got 2 with the lead. See that there's something wrong here. Oh yeah, see, this one's inactive. Okay. All right, so that should be gone. Then this is this custom is referenced elsewhere. Filter lookup. Oh, so see inventory. So this record here. So yeah, this was we were doing a filter, so it will look at all the inventory records and it will do a filter lookup, and it'll look up anything that had to do with what you had picked. So it's pretty cool. It just didn't show us the item ID, but it didn't tell us exactly what it was, so that didn't work that well. But it was a pretty cool lookup filter that we did. Where's that inventory? So see, it was an inventory. It was looking up in the inventory, but we're not using that no more, so we'll get rid of that. Formula field. Okay, quantity. Okay, so here's another one. See. So this was counting how many of the same. So you can kind of tell how intricate some of these things can get, and things are related to each other and related to other things. But we haven't used any of these objects yet. This was testing. We're doing all our testing in production, which is not the way you do it. But in the sandbox, we can do all these experiments. And yeah, this object right here, we're replacing this with member, and a member will have a participant that gets these things, right? So this support record probably won't be used soon. Okay, let's go back. Oh look, now we can validate it. Okay, so this does all the testing and make sure it's gonna deploy correctly, that there's nothing. Oh, look at that, 29. This was earlier, the other ones we did. This one I included a lot of different objects. I think when you do change sets, you want to do specific updates at a time. That way it's not, see, this one had 190 fields and objects and things updating. See, on this one we only updating 33, which it passed. So we should be able to deploy this one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look here. All right, so it validated. All right, so now we can hit deploy, and it does its test once again. And once it passes that test, it will update these items. Oh, you know what? We didn't do the flow, so we'll probably have to do that one separately again. But here we did our inventory item and our inventory location. So the way this works is you establish your location. That's where all these items are stored, right? So let's say you have pantry A, you have pantry B. So whenever you add things, they're related to right? It's a parent-child relationship or master detail relationship. So on this pantry, all these items are inside this location, right? And then we created a flow that lets us create multiple items at once, right? So the flow will allow you to select your location, select the item you want to add, and if it's the same item, it asks you how many times or how many items of the same you have, and what's the quantity of that item. We're doing it for our diapers, right? So we have a pack of diapers. Let's say we have diapers size 1, and we have each package has 25 diapers, and we have 10 packages of 25 diapers, right? So it creates 10 records of 25 diapers per package, right? And the flow lets us do that at once, right? So instead of having to add each item one by one, we can add multiple of the same items. So that our testing, it allows us to work. So we're gonna deploy that. But right now, this object, what it does, it should be able to see it validated, right? Let's see. And deployment successful. All right. So now, if we take a look at our objects, we should have a inventory location, inventory item. Great. So see, I had an old inventory item. I deleted that one, and it created a new inventory item. Okay. So if you have the same name, because it has the same API name too, right? So you have to, if you have created one before, you have to get rid of all the data since we were just testing, it didn't have any real data. So we got rid of the test data we had. We got rid of any things that prevented us to delete that object, and we were able to delete the object, right? And then when we did the change set, this is the good new object, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our app here, and okay, we got inventory item. Let's see this one. Yeah, so this is like the old inventory item, but in the change set, you can also select if you want the app to update, or you can just do it manually here once it's imported. So you have to kind of like decide how you want to do these updates, because it can get kind of complicated if you do a lot of different changes in the sandbox, or if you want to, you know, make sure that that's going to work when you deploy it. But what we're going to do really quick is we're going to go to our tab, and let's see if there's a tab created for location. No. So we're going to do, we're going to create a new tab. I'm going to create a, I don't know, what? Oh, okay, custom ones are over here. So it already has a tab, okay, inventory location. So now what we need to do is go to our app then, and we're gonna add it to our apps. We use two main apps here. We use like our main app, Dream Center, and then we have a specific one for diaper location, diaper assistance. So we're gonna add it to both of those, right? So it's called Gentle Bottoms. And then we just go to navigation and see we can add now to inventory. Oh, so it already has inventory location here, okay. But this is the sandbox. Oh, damn it. Okay, let's make sure, get rid of the sandbox. Okay, so here we have Gentle Bottoms. Okay. Okay, so see we have inventory item, and then we got inventory, nothing. So see, this one probably don't have the app, the tab yet. Okay, so we gotta go to tab. So earlier we were looking in the sandbox. Yeah, so make sure you know when you're in the sandbox, or you can tell by up here, and then also in the sandbox here in the top, there's like a thing that says you're in the sandbox. But if we try to create the tab now, see, inventory location. Okay. So yeah, so the inventory location, we set this one, we want to set the permissions to not anybody just create new locations, right? Because it has to do a physical place, right? So probably putting it under approval, or just limiting that create new location to only a manager or admin. That way people are not creating this. All right, and then we want to include this only in our gentle bottom here and dream center. Okay, so now if we take a look at gentle bottoms, we have inventory location. Great. So inventory location, it's like your physical place, right? So we have the name, so we have a headquarters, who is it associated with, which account, who's the manager, the manager of the place, what's the address, so you put your address, full address if you want, okay, and then I put this is for future, but yeah, probably with the you can pinpoint exactly where it is in the map, and then you can kind of calculate distances. You know, if you need to deliver an item, you can calculate how long, how far away, you know, you can do address things with this. So that's pretty cool. And then the other thing is we did roll-ups. So this has to do with the inventory item, right? So it's counting how many items. And then since this is like a diaper bank, we created these roll-ups for the diaper sizes, right? We still got a few other sizes to add, but as a testing, we just created roll-ups, and this tells us right off the bat from the location what are the numbers, you know. And then one other thing I learned the other day was you can create Aura components, and you can add them anywhere in the screen here, and you can do a lot of these things, because imagine you have a lot of different items, and maybe pantries have different type of items that they are gonna host, right? So let's say this is a diaper item. Since that's our main thing, we can create roll-ups, but if you have a whole bunch of items, you can't create a field for each item, right? Because you can only have 500 fields, right? So using those components, you can just map things specifically, create components just for those types of items, you know, and not create fields for each item and then having to put in the layout, but you can control which fields to do programmatically, and that way you can display all that information. You can display related information, you can display parent information, like what's the contact number for these people, you know. You can display a lot of that stuff programmatically, and then you can put those components anywhere on any page. So it's pretty cool. But for now, this should work for what we're trying to do. We want to keep count of what's on hand. We're going to use these numbers when people are requesting the assistance, letting them know right away if the item is available, and maybe placing them in a queue if it's not, but allowing them to know that they're going to get it soon, or to know that we don't have them, and not to wait too long for us, you know. So those are some of the things we're thinking about, and we're gonna be able to create different paths for that, right? But so far we were able to deploy our inventory, and just to show you how to add an item, it's a related, so you can go here and create a new item. When you do it this way, it already places it in the right location, right? And then see, this is a dependency right here. So is active, right, by default, because we're adding it. So these are all the different categories we created. We can keep adding more. Then we have our type, and then subtype. These automatically populate by what you selected here, right? So in the flow, we were able to use this exactly how it is here, right? And it shows us the things we want to see, right? So here's our inventory. So let's add a couple things here. Okay, let's see. All right, we got quantity 19. Okay, and then the stage here, this will automatically change according. Right now we change it here, but this is gonna automatically change. And then see, we have a benefactor here, so you can put who donated the item if you know, like if it's a donation thing, you can do let's say we receive a big donation for a company and we want to log it in the system. In the flow, we want to have a way of capturing those donations quickly, right? Without having to add, okay, we got 10 boxes of this, you know, you can kind of like bulk add items that way. So that would be pretty cool to keep track of what's donated, who donated it. All right, so now we have one item. The size wasn't one of these sizes, so. But yeah, we can see how this is working. That's great. All right, so I have to go now, but on our next video, we're gonna show how to deploy the flow, how the flow works, and work on the flow so we can add some of those other features we want to add. Okay. All right, well, hope this was informative. Subscribe if you like. Leave us a comment if you have any questions, comments, or better ways to do this. And thank you. Have a blessed day.